Sean Puffy Combs has been accused of some crazy things, and he throws some really wild parties. This clip is from WPLG Local 10 on YouTube, 900K subscribers.
Feds are accusing him of using his business empire to run a criminal sex enterprise involving so-called freak-offs.
The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics.
Prosecutors also deeming him a danger to the community. LA and Miami Beach were also raided earlier in the year. Agents say they found high-powered weapons, ammo, and 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube.
So here are 5 fights that I'm going to throw at you, and I'm going to ask, would you rather attend a Diddy party or watch this fight? So bring your baby oil and lube, because this is going to be a weird video. March 7th, 2022, I give you Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza, Part 2, as if we needed a rematch. I know what you're thinking. Let's just go to the Diddy party, right? Why are we talking about this fight? Well, let's refresh our memories. The full fight, 38 strikes landed in total for Rose Namajunas and 30 strikes landed for Carla Esparza. A nightmare of a fight on a card that was headlined by Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. You had an incredible finish right before that of Michael Chandler on Tony Ferguson, where he turned Tony's face into a chicken nugget. So what does the UFC do? They say, let's march these 2 ladies out there and let's have a barn burner. People were booing for 5 straight rounds, and Carla Esparza becomes the new champion. One of the most boring fights of all time, if not the most boring fight of all time. Round 1, 4 strikes to 4 in total. Round 2, 3 strikes to 4 in total. Round number 3. Oh, it's ramping up. 11 strikes to 9 in total. Round number 4. Oh, we're really moving. 7 strikes to 8 in total. And the final round, Rose is like, I'm going to really turn it up with 13 strikes. I mean, mind-blowing. And 5 for Carla Esparza. UFC, I hate you. Do I choose watching that fight, or do I just go to the Diddy party? I'm just going to fondle my ass. Let's go to the Diddy party.
Ain't no party like a Diddy party.
Hey, let's travel to March 7th, 2020. A fight that went down that a lot of people were excited about. A title fight between Israel Adesanya and Yoel, the Soldier of God, Romero. One of the scariest guys in the middleweight division, Yoel Romero, looking to take the middleweight title away from this man over here, Israel Adesanya. Full fight, 48 strikes to 40 in favor of the champion, who went and still in this fight. If you go round by round, round 1, 2 strikes to 4 in favor of Yoel Romero. Second round, 11 strikes by Izzy, really ramping it up to 7, the Soldier of God. Round 3, Izzy's on fire now. 12 strikes landing, 9 strikes for the Soldier of God. Round number 4, 11 strikes for Izzy. I mean, he's on a roll. Yoel Romero only landed 6. And then round number 5, they really started to turn up. Very crazy round, 12 strikes to 14. This was a disaster of a fight, especially because this was UFC 248, your main event. One of the most underwhelming fights you could ever sit through. And if you were to say, hey, let me get someone into the UFC, you stay far away from this fight over here. Okay, let's think about this now. The Diddy party, a lot of bad things can happen over there. You don't want to get roofied. You don't want to get molested. You don't want any of that crazy stuff to happen when P. Diddy is lurking, okay? So now we have to decide. Are we going to watch this fight again? Where they just stare at each other and Yoel's doing this? Voguing? Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to have to watch the main event of UFC 248. I'm not going to the Diddy party for this one. I'm going to watch Yoel Romero versus Israel Adesanya. On March 4th of 2017, we were on our second year on YouTube, kind of like our first full year of doing this, and we got to enjoy a fight. Well, no, we didn't enjoy it at all. Stephen Thompson versus Tyron Woodley, Part 2. This was your main event, and I'm telling you this, it's one of the worst fights I've ever laid my eyeballs on. Let's go through the rounds on this puppy. 5-6. We open up the fight with 5 rounds to 6 in total strikes. Amp it up, 8-8. Oh, I'm biting my nails. Now, here it goes, 30-27. Whoa, fireworks, baby. We got a good fight. No. Round number 4, 9-12. Round number 5, 18-13 in total strikes. And Tyron Woodley wins by a unanimous decision. Dana White wasn't happy. The fans weren't either. Was Tyron Woodley one of the most overrated champions, or did he actually have a decent resume? It's a weird conversation because there was a time where I'm like, man, Tyron Woodley is up there as one of the greats. And boy, did he fall apart towards the end of his run. Stephen Thompson. Wait, is this spiked? We're going to the Diddy party.
Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Ain't no party like a Diddy party.
This fight just happened. 2024, the year we're in right now. September 14th, UFC Noche. Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili was the main event of a card that was massive, celebrating Mexican Independence Day. And a lot of people hated this fight. People were very quiet in the crowd. Everyone was yelling and screaming after the fight was done that it was one of the worst fights they've ever seen. This fight was incredibly lopsided. When you look at the total strikes that landed, Merab Dvalishvili landed 214 strikes, whereas Sugar Sean O'Malley only 49. The craziest part of this fight is Sean O'Malley is making an argument that he won this fight. And I understand you score by round, but in this lopsided mess, I don't know how you can make that argument. Round 1. You got 14 strikes to 25 in favor of Merab Dvalishvili. You look at that output, a lot better than the fights that we were talking about before. Round number 2, 65 strikes for Merab Dvalishvili to 6 for Sugar Sean. Almost got shut out in that round, beat up, embarrassed. Going into round number 3, you have 11 strikes for Sugar, 25 for the Machine. Round number 4, you ready for this? 74 strikes, Merab, 7 for Sean O'Malley. And round number 5, 11 strikes to 25. I mean, dominance on paper for Merab Dvalishvili. The crazy part about this, too, is if you zoom into the control time over here, Merab controlled on the mat against the cage 10 minutes, 2 full rounds on top of the domination with the strikes. Now, typically, I don't like to say, oh, yeah, lopsided fights are fun to watch. But in this situation, the way the MMA community was saying, hey, Sugar's got this, 64% of our community was saying that Sugar's got this fight, and Merab dominates on the other side. I got to say this. I was fascinated by this fight. So, listen, we're not going to the Diddy party on this one. You can go by yourself. We're watching UFC 306, and we're having a damn good time. The year was 2018. It was on July 7th. And the UFC put together a fight, the person with the most knockouts in UFC history, in Derek Lewis, and one of the scariest heavyweight champions, if not the greatest heavyweight champion of all time, Francis Ngannou. How could this fight suck? When we were doing breakdowns to this thing, I was a little bit nervous. I was a little bit skeptical. As much as I was excited, and Derek Lewis being one of my favorite heavyweight fighters of all time, fighting a guy like Francis Ngannou, I mean, how could I not be amped up for this? But I was worried. I was nervous. I said, hey, man, heavyweight fights. If these guys are too scared of each other, you just never know what's going to happen. But the way Dana White sold this thing, how could it go wrong, right? Well, it went wrong. The good news is this fight was only a 3-round fight. The bad news was Francis Ngannou, in the entire 3 rounds, landed only 11 strikes. Derek Lewis landed only 20. You ready for this? Round 1. Francis landed 1 strike. That is it. He was scared as hell to get punched by Derek Lewis. I can't even describe how ridiculous that round looked, as Francis Ngannou was completely hesitant and Derek Lewis was kind of shook as well. But Lewis wound up landing 5 strikes. The second round, Francis amps it up. 6 strikes he lands. Derek Lewis only 4. Round number 3, listen, you got to really show you want it. So Francis Ngannou lands 4 strikes. Derek Lewis, 11. Oh, for God fucking... Diddy, where are you? I can't even pretend that I would ever want to watch that fight again. This is a fight they should show people to torture them for information. Probably the worst fight in UFC history. So you know where I'm going. Let's go to that Diddy party.
Ain't no
Yeah!
party like a Diddy party. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. Get the baby oil, get the lube, pop something in that drink and make them forget that ass space. Politicians love it, celebrities too. Now squeeze that baby oil on that boo. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. 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 Loop, loop, lube on that boo, boo, boo. Loop, loop, lube on that boo, boo, boo.
Whoa. Before I let you guys go, I got to slide a Bellator 1 in here for the people. We had Dada 5000 on our program, and Dada 5000 explained that he had like multiple heart attacks in his fight against Kimbo Slice. This was February 19th, 2016. One of the most ridiculous fights I've ever seen before, and I remember watching this live saying, holy cow, how is this even sanctioned? You got the 2 backyard brawlers going at it. It seemed like a good idea, but Dada 5000 and Kimbo were completely gassed. A lot of clinching, hugging, Kimbo laying on top of him. All right, so I got to ask you guys this, because I know what my answer is, but I want to know from you, the people down below, are you going to the Diddy party, or are you going to watch this hot mess?
Diddy did it again. Get that baby oil ready.